Hello and welcome! In this lecture we're going to build a health system so our bullets and other actions can actually deal damage and our units and enemies can die. Okay, so let's begin by making our health system. So let's make a new C# script. Let's call it the health system. Let's select the unit prefab, so the unit prefab, the base one, not the enemy. And over here let's attach the health system. So just drag it in there. Okay. Over here let's start off by defining our basic field, so the current health. So for the type, now this one is personal preference really. If you want decimals in your health, you can go with floats. But for me, I like whole numbers, so I'm going to make it with ints. Let's call it health, let's default it to 100. And let's also make it serializable just to make it easy to edit. Okay, so serialized field, alright. So now the main action that we want to do in our health system is simply take damage. So let's make that function. So public void, take damage, and let receive an int for the damage amount. And we just got down the health by this damage amount. Then also here, let's do a quick check to make sure it doesn't go under 0. So if the health, if it is under 0, then let's put health equals 0. Okay, so that's the basic damage script done. Now let's go into the unit script. So over here on the unit script, let's first of all store the health system component. So let's make a private health system for the health system. And this one is a component, so let's grab it here on awake. So get component of type health system, okay. Now, quite a while ago, we already made a damage function. So here it is. We're calling this one from the shoot action. So in here, let's just pass through the damage to the health system. So go into the health system and call damage. Now here we set up a certain damage amount. So for that, we could just define a fixed value here, or we can receive it over here as a parameter. Let's go with this way, since with this way we could have different actions dealing different damage. So for example, the shoot action could deal a certain damage amount from a pistol and a different amount from a shotgun and so on. So let's receive an int for the damage amount and then we pass it through. Okay, now let's see on the shoot action where we're calling this. So here on the shoot action script, let's see our error. Here it is. So we've got the damage. And again, maybe in the future, if you wanted to make a shoot action depending on the weapon, maybe that's some simple logic for that, for identifying which weapon the unit is holding. But again, for now, let's keep it simple with a fixed value, let's say 40. So 3 hits kills a unit. Okay, so that's it, very simple. This calls damage on the unit, which in turn calls damage on the health system. And then on the health system, we're running this logic. So here, just for testing, let's do a debug.log on the current health. Okay, so let's test. So here we are, there's the console. Let's go into the shoot action, shoot the enemy, and as soon as it shoots, yep, there you go. The enemy now has 60 health, so he took 40 damage. Shoot again, and yep, now it has 20. Now going to the other unit, let's shoot again, and shoot, and yep, now it has 0. Okay, great, so the logic is all working. Now the obvious issue is that nothing happens when the enemy is dead. So right now he has 0 health, but nothing really happened. So let's add that logic. Over here on the damage function, let's test if the health is 0. If so, then this unit is dead. So let's call some sort of die function. And then let's make that function, so private void, and just call it die. And now here, how we handle this is an interesting question. So one way could be just call destroy on this game object. So that would destroy the enemy as soon as the enemy dies. However, we really want this health system class to be very generic. We want to be able to use it and reuse it in tons of different scenarios. So instead of writing some hard-coded behavior on death, instead of that, let's make a simple event, and then we can hook onto that event to do whatever we want. So instead of this, let's make an event. So a public event handler. So we need to add using system. And on this, let's call it onDead. Okay, we have the event, and then on the die function, in here we just invoke the event. So this and event args empty. Okay, so we have this event. Now for this, we can go into the unit script. And let's go up here so we get the health system. Then on the health system, let's listen to that event. Let's grab the health system, go into the event, so the on that event, let's subscribe to it. Let's make the function for it. So the function as usual, health system underscore on dead. So let's make this function. Down here, just a private void. Okay, we have this function, and now in here, now we do destroy this game object. All right, that's it. So let's test. Here we are, let's shoot the enemy. So shoot once, and there you go, one shot. Now shoot again. Okay, Now go into the other one, give the final shot, and shoot, and yep, there you go, the unit is gone. Alright, great. So everything worked, but we can already see a nice issue over here in our debug objects. So the reference is now left to null. Let's handle the cleanup properly, so let's remove this unit from the grid. When the unit dies, let's go into the level grid, access the instance, and let's call remove the unit at grid position and pass in this unit's grid position. Okay, that's it, let's test. And for testing, let's actually make the enemy a bit weaker, just so we can easily see it. So let's put the health just 10, so the enemy dies pretty much with one shot. Okay, let's see. Here we are, let's shoot the enemy, aim, shoot, and yep, there you go, he's gone. Okay, great. Finally, we have one more issue. If we try selecting another unit after one has already died, so if I click on this one, yep, there you go, we've got an error. This error, which is coming from the unit selected visual, and if we click on it, we see that it's this line firing off the error, and the error is because the game object was destroyed, so the mesh renderer was also destroyed with it. The issue with that is because this script, the unit select visual, this one over here, it listens to that event, and then it simply keeps listening to that event even when the unit that refers to this unit select visual, even when that one is gone. So that means we need to handle cleanup with the events, and how we do that is super simple. First of all, we need to know when the unit dies, so one way would be to hook onto the event on the unit. But another way, which is even more generic, is over here we can just use the built-in function private void on destroy. This is a built-in function built into MonoBehavior, and it's called automatically whenever this game object is destroyed. So over here we can just unsubscribe, which is pretty much the exact same thing as subscribing. So let's copy this code, except instead of plus equals, now we've got a minus equals. So when this game object, when the selected visual, when that one is destroyed, which is going to be destroyed as soon as the unit is destroyed, so when that happens, it calls this function, and then this function unsubscribes to the event, so we no longer have this error. Okay, so let's see. Here we are, let's go into shoot. Let's shoot our enemy, and aim, and shoot, and yep, he's gone. Now let's go back into our selection. Let's select a different one, so if I click, and yep, there you go, it selects correctly. Alright, great, so we no longer have any errors, we can move around, and all of our units now have a health system. Okay, so here we created the very basic health system. All of the units have health. When the health is empty, the unit dies and the game object is destroyed. Like I mentioned, we made the health system intentionally generic, meaning that we can reuse it on anything that we want to have some health. So for example, we could use this in some kind of destructible crate object, maybe on a critter, maybe on a wall, maybe on anything we want. So we've got a real nice script that we can apply to health to anything. The only issue we have right now is that it's very unsatisfying to just watch a unit vanish. So in the next lecture, let's add a fun ragdoll.